Hi, I just thought I'd bring you up to date on the restoration of the Lancaster. Now we've got into year 4. I haven't been able to go to East Kirkby because we're still in lockdown. We come out today, but then we go into tier 3, which is the tier with the most restrictions, so I still won't be able to get to East Kirkby. I wouldn't think now before January the 5th. This year's programme has been changed. So we're going to split the fuselage round the letter D on the starboard side and the letter H on the port side, and remove it, make a jig and then restore it to airworthy conditions, put it back on the Lancaster ready for the taxi season. But that has slightly changed. So this is what they're doing now. They're going to remove the rear turret, fins, rudder, tailplate, split the fuselage at the letter D on the starboard side and the letter H on the port side. Take the fuselage off and have a jig made ready for restoring it next year, putting it back on ready for the taxi season. Also on the programme, number 1's port and starboard fuel tank. These are 580 gallon tanks, sit between the fuselage and the first engine. These will be overall pressure tested, FOK, put back into the Lancaster. The spare elevators, which will be restored. The tubes have been x-rayed and found to be okay, no rust at all, so they'll have an inhibitor put down them. There is one which got a slight dint on the trailing edge. This will be checked out and restored. There's further wiring in the middle of the Lancaster fuselage. That'll be Spen's job, and the cost of this is going to be around about 50,000. Now the centre usually spend between 200 to 400,000 pounds each year, so over the last 4 years. But due to the only receiving 30% of the income it would normally generate in a year, they've cut this programme back this year. So if any of you are thinking about joining a rivet club, got my badge on, yeah, it's a good time to join because it'll help to boost the funds up and get this Lancaster back in the air a little bit quicker. As I said before, it's £2 minimum to join each month. You can cancel it whenever you like, you're not under any contract. It's either £2, £5 or £10 or whatever you want to give a month. I'm nothing to do with the centre, only a supporter of getting the Lancaster back in the air. So that's my little advert. Right, a report on the wingtips. Keith and Kevin have finished doing the leading edge. That is completed, all riveted up and taped. The trailing edge is a bit of a problem. They've tried different methods of sorting it out, but they've gone back to the original method of having them cast. I think there were so many different angles, it would have been too difficult to mill one out of a block. Speaking to John earlier in the year about this curtailed programme, when I was talking to John, he was restoring a mid-upper gun turret. He's putting new perspex on. Now this turret will go into the air gunner's display here at the centre. The other time I spoke to him, John was restoring a wingtip. I didn't realise there's 3 wingtips on the Lancaster. But no, John is restoring this for display purposes only. But anyway, this is what John had to say about this programme.
Well, we're not going to do any real work on the rear fuselage. We're going to take the rear fuselage off, put that into a trolley and get it measured up for a jig, basically. Probably clean up the inside a bit and do a full survey of it, what really needs doing. But no, there'll be no structural work.
Restoration of it.
Yeah, there'll be no skins coming off or anything like that. No. Just be measuring that up for a jig. So, well, you know, come next winter, we'll be all ready for it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do this winter, just that?
Yeah. Well, we've got the elevators to do.
Oh yeah, those.
Yeah. They've got to be sent away for NDT up to Doncaster.
Yeah.
Because they got steel tubes, which is basically the main spar of it, basically. So they've got to be NDT'd. That come back okay. Then we'll take the bottom skins off, make sure it's no corrosion inside. Stick the bottom skins off, and then they're serviceable. And then we got the number 1 fuel tanks, which are in there. We'll take all the covering off of those, take all the access panels out, have a look inside, make sure it's nice and clean, and then we'll pressure test it, put all the access panels back on, and then we'll stick them in the wing. Because they're out of the way then and nice and safe. In there they're not safe. So we've got plenty of work, plenty of things to do. Just catching up on the little bits.
Right, thanks John. Are you on the Lancaster this morning?
I think so. I usually am.
Good, I'll see you in a bit.
I'm still planning to take the back end of the Lancaster off and...
When you going to start in December on that?
Possibly, I don't know.
Will you do a service on the Lancaster first?
Oh, there'll be work done on the Lancaster.
I meant a winter service. Will they start on the engines while
all the cowlings will come off and all that sort of stuff. Probably
because when you take the back end off, will you have it horizontal, or will you still leave it at the angle?
Not necessarily horizontal, but it will be on jacks. Just to steady it up. You got to.
You can keep it at a bit of an angle then to take it off.
As long as it's trestled right at the back end. So you've got your main jacks at the on the main spar. Your trestled at the back will be absolutely solid. Fine.
I just wondered whether it'd be more difficult to take it off at an angle than it would horizontal.
Not taking it off, putting it on, Getting the angle
depends
right.
on the good slinger. So have you tried moving any of the bolts on the transportation? No. Oh, that'll be interesting. Are they castellated, the nuts? Or
No, they're self-locking nuts. Sort of nylock nuts. Just normal nuts and bolts. Oh, good. It'll be interesting. I'll have to watch it. Rather a lot of them, and they're pretty close to the skin, so they're going to be awkward.
When have a job to get a ring spanner on, or a socket, or can you?
You got a socket on it, but it's really close. It's a knuckle job. Skin your knuckles job.
Oh right, thanks John.
It's going to be a good exercise. So you've got to take the fins and rudders off, and then take the tail plane, or take the elevators off, take the tail plane out.
And what about the control rods? Are they still in? Well, they will, but they are for the rudders, aren't they?
We've got to disconnect them.
Are the controls in for the elevators?
For the elevators and rudders, there's two rods that go down the side, but you can disconnect them.
But obviously the way they build them in the transport sections, obviously there'll be joints on either side the section.
It's all dismantleable. All taken to bits.
I've been how complicated it was to disconnect everything.
That's my biggest concern is when we come to take the cockpit section off. There's so much in there. It's unbelievable. They've got controls, electrics,
the chains and all that.
For the engines and hydraulics. Nightmare. Nightmare. So there's so much in that cockpit section. It's the most sort of crowded bit of the aircraft concerning sort of mechanical parts.
Yeah.
You know, sort of stripping that out and getting back to the basic structure is going to be a big job.
Yeah.
And remembering where it all goes back together, when where did that bit come from?
Now to get your old phone out and get a few photographs on every stage.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh right, okay, John. Thanks a lot. Are you working on your own this morning? Oh, I've asked you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Leslie's not here. Yeah.
It's curved in that direction, but not curved in that direction. So I get a new piece of perspex. I use one of the old moulds which is on top of the rack in there.
Yeah.
And get it to a nice curve.
Yeah. It looks
quite.
odd.
It looks odd.
Yeah. It looks quite big when it's off the Lancaster, doesn't it? The old canopy.
Yeah, I was thinking about it yesterday, thinking that sticks up the top of the fuselage, and
Yeah.
it must have caused a lot of drag,
Yeah.
because it's not really streamlined. It's just it's a big goldfish bowl upside down, really.
Yeah. And where the guns go as well, you're getting air flowing through there,
Well,
building up
it
pressure.
should be sealed to a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a bit drafty.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely view from up there.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're flying in the BBMF one, and you got a Hurricane that side and a Spitfire that side.
Oh, you've been in it, have you?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Done a few hours in mid-upper.
Oh, good.
And it's something else to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you are actually looking forward. You've got the engines, and they say you've got the two fighters either side you.
But during the war, more often than not, a mid-upper gunner saw a night fighter first.
Yeah.
Because if you sit in the rear turret of the Lanc, there's so much structure around you, you don't get as good a view as that. That is just superb.
So providing it's coming from the top, not the underneath, the
Yeah.
upper mid turret sees him first then,
Yeah, it's usually the mid-upper that sees it first.
Yeah.
Because he can see down. If he traverses to the side, he can actually see
Oh yeah, I suppose you can really, yeah.
a fair angle down.
Yeah. All right, thanks John.
It's okay.
What about that